What if I tell you the only thing probably standing between you and your dream life is something that you did not choose, something just going in your head. It happened with me when I left my job and when I joined the real estate to as a business, no paycheck. You know how many things came in the head? The limiting belief, will I succeed? In my whole family, nobody ever did business. Can I become successful? Being a business person. So there are many different things. In a new country with the new culture, with the new way of talking, the accent, the you name it. Limit. Now, limiting beliefs not myth. It's not fake. Limiting beliefs are real. But if we don't know how to break the limiting belief, we will keep ourselves in the limit and will never achieve the dream life we want. So that is the reason breaking the limiting belief is very important. You realize or not, we all have limiting belief and we have to break that every single day, regardless. Anytime you want to go and do something new, you will have limiting belief, and we need to know how to break that, how to step forward and then say no to the limiting belief and go forward to that. So let's dig through. What is limiting belief? The limiting beliefs are the subconscious, means like the back of your head, the stories keep on repeating. They are not fact for yourself, but they may be happened around you with somebody else. But subconsciously, we repeating that story again and again and again and again to ourselves, and then it becomes the fact, it becomes the truth, and then it hold us to take the step we need to take forward, because it becomes the truth for yourself, even though it never maybe happened with you. But looking at the surrounding, knowing somebody else failed in something, and that is the cause of the limiting belief. It happens in our head. In the book Think and Grow Rich, it mentioned as auto suggestions. The auto suggestions are certain words, certain sentences is unconsciously we are talking about it. We're listening from the other people and we feeding that to our subconscious mind. For example, I'm not good enough. Nobody in my family ever did it. How can I do it? This kind of thing. Or people don't want me to be successful. These kind of things, they are fake, but that's called auto suggestion. Automatically is getting fed to our brain. The thing is, the auto suggestion is happening all the time. The goal is, what are we feeding to? We have to be very mindful that what are we talking about repeatedly. If we are complaining repeatedly, or if you're listening to some complaint repeatedly, that is the auto suggestion we are feeding to our head. We have to feed the positive word. We have to feed the things going to give you that success. Those words, those sentences, those stories, you have to feed to your brain. Be very mindful about auto suggestion. A few things what creates the limiting belief. Number one thing is the auto suggestions, the repeated words coming to us, listening to. That's number one thing, auto suggestion. Two will be the past small failures, small defeat. It's not like you had a big failure, but little bump on the road, and those are in the mind, and that can become a limiting belief. But hey, I was not able to do that in the past, so I cannot. But those are just a temporary defeat. Those are not failures. So we have to realize that we cannot tag a temporary defeat as a failure, because that becomes as a limiting belief. And the next one is your environment, your people. That's the reason they say when you are joining an office, you make sure you're joining with the rockstar people. Especially if you're in a business, you have to hang around with the people who think of winning, who doesn't look at the negative aspect of the market, negative aspect of the business, and then talk about all the time that, oh, it is not possible, the economy is bad. So it is very important, for you to surround by or get influenced by the people who believe in the success, because that surrounding, the people you are hanging around with, will make the limiting belief in you. The next one is sometimes the childhood and the early conditions. So in the past, long time back, we saw, the other people fail, we saw people struggle, and that stays in our mind, and and that creates a limiting belief. The next one is big, the fear of rejection and the judgment. Many times we get fearful, okay, we don't want to get judged by other people, we don't want to uh, get rejected. But look, rejection is a part of the journey. If we get fearful about getting rejected, we will build that limiting belief. Remember, it was 10,000 times Thomas Edison failed before invented electric bulb. And the way he explained that, that was the 9,999 way to find how not to invent electric bulb. You see that the theory behind, he did not give up for so many times. He knows that he can do it. And that is the big example of how to break that limiting belief. So make sure that you don't get fearful of rejection, because rejection is a part of the journey. Next one is, in today's date, is the social media, because you can check social media, see somebody's fake news, they are doing very good, and you feel like, I'm falling behind, you feel like a failure. You got to be very careful, because the social media is good when to reach out to the people, to build your community, but then the social media, the fake news, can build your limiting belief also. So be very careful for that. So do not fall for that. Question is, how do you break limiting belief? Number one thing is the awareness. How you going to get the awareness, that think that you didn't see something, you're just thinking about it, you just overthinking and putting a limit to your goal, your dream, and the vision. You didn't see it. If you see it, the challenge comes, you're going to think of getting the solution. So let the challenge come to you. So if you don't see it, why are you going to be fearful and limit yourself? So the very first thing is the awareness of, so you to know that, hey, let me face it, let me see what kind of trouble. The trouble can be at level 1, trouble can be at level 5 or 10. So what you don't see, don't believe it, don't limit yourself. On the how to break the limiting belief, number 2 is, you got to replace the auto suggestions, because auto suggestions always coming. So you have to break that negative auto suggestion to positive. And the way you do that is like, I can do this, I'm learning this new thing, I'm adopting this new thing, so I can do this. Yeah, I don't know right now, but I know I can do this, because all I have to do is learn this to do that. So you're acknowledging that, yeah, you don't have that right now, but positively going forward. And that's the way you can break the limiting belief. 3, on changing the limiting belief or eliminating the limiting belief, is you have to change your environment. What you need to do, you need to read a lot of books of the self-made successful people. You need to listen to the podcast. You need to read the biography of the people, because when you are reading the biography of the real people, they went through the struggle and then they won, they got super success, then it's going to make you believe that, because now it's real, because you're listening to someone who already did that really. And that's what you're going to do. You're going to break that limiting belief, and then you make it believable for yourself. The next one is, you need to take the small tiny wins, because sometimes a huge goal, the big goal, the huge win can be very daunting, can be very looks like impossible, and then the limiting belief comes. What you need to do is break it down to smaller pieces. I have a video here, is how can you break the 1-year goal to 90 days, and this is kind of the same thing. You break it down to smaller pieces, and then you feel like it's achievable. That's the way you also break the limiting belief. So whatever your limiting belief is, you acknowledge, and then you break it to smaller pieces and then win step by step. To break the limiting belief is you have to reframe the failure, because do not tag failure as a failure. Rather, tag failure as a learning, as a training. It's like a little kid, when they walk, how many times they fall, but they keep on walking. They stand up, walk. Because if you tell a kid like, hey, you're falling too many times, don't try to walk, the kid will never walk. So that's what we don't tell them. So this is the same exact thing. So do not tag a failure as a failure. It is not a failure, honestly. It's a temporary defeat. And take it as what can I learn from it? Okay, where did the mistake happen? What can I tweak that so it never happen again and I can win? And that's the way to look at to the failure. Last one is to break the limiting belief. Question it. Question that belief. Like, why I'm believing this? Who told me this? Is that person really be successful, or is that person just so annoying? Or is that person so negative? Then that's everything. Then that's all they do. That's what you have to do. And is this true? Is this a fact, or this is just a story? Someone heard from someone and then giving it to me. What is it? So you have to always question when you hear something negative and you're believing in that. Do I need to believe this? And that's what you have to do. Now that breaks your limiting belief and grow the positive belief. Why it is important to break the limiting belief? So the number one reason is they control your decision making ability. Because if you have a limiting belief, you will not make the decision, because you are 50-50. You're going forward one step and you're going forward backward two steps, because you have that limiting belief, you have that fear. So that is number one reason you have to break the limiting belief, because otherwise you'll never make a decision on something. And that's going to hold you up, because decision is the thing going to take you forward. Because once we make a decision, then we step it forward. Because if we don't make a decision, we'll never step it forward. Regardless how much plan you have, how much you want, you got to make a decision, and limiting belief will stop making you the decision. And secondly, even you make a decision with the limiting belief, they're going to cap your potential, because your potential probably high up there, but then because of the limiting belief, you will never go full force, you never go full form, and that will give you the result, limited result. It's going to limiting your potential, it's going to limiting the result you want to achieve, it's going to limit everything in your life. And that is another reason you should break the limiting. Number 4, they will limit your success. So your success level, regardless your business goal, regardless of any goal, the limiting belief is the one who's going to control that how far will you go. And that's something you don't want. And that is so important. And I could tell you my own story. When I wanted to become a coach, and I cleared everything, and then I met a few coaches. They with a high ego. On the same side, I met many coaches who are giving. We're a giving personality, and then they welcome with a warm heart. So now I have a decision to make. Do I follow this high egoistic coach? They're not even saying hello to you because whatever reason, because they don't believe in you, because you look different, because you speak different, doesn't matter. So that's and that's the time I had to pick the tribe I want to pick. I want to pick the tribe who are open-minded, who doesn't look at you how you look, who doesn't look at you where you're coming from, who look at you what's your potential, who look at you who are you inside, and they are the one who are the jewel finder, because they know regardless where this person coming from, this is the potential this person has. So you will meet different kind of people, but never set yourself back because of somebody say something to you. Look for those people, because again, remember what Tony Robbins said, where you focus your energy goes. So do not focus on those people who's pulling you down. There will be people, trust me, believe me, you know it, there will be people who is going to try to pull you down, not intentionally, A lot of times it's not intentionally because that's their attitude. That's what they do. But you look for the people, your tribe, because when you look for your tribe with that, high value people, the people who doesn't care like you be successful because they are successful already, and also they want your success because that's what they're doing throughout their life, because those are the people that they're giver. So that's what you want to look for, because when you look for it and you'll get. And that's, I want to say, that one thing itself is going to break your limiting belief. If you think someone has a lot of potential, you or someone has a lot of potential and they are not taking that step, send this video to them and let me know that in this limiting belief, what do you think is possible for you to implement today. Also let me know in the comment what made you break that limiting belief and achieve what you're achieving right now. And I like to share your story also, because we all have our own struggle story, we all have our winning story. This is how breaking the limiting belief, facing those challenges, you win. So let me know in the comment what kind of experience you faced. Share this with someone. Please make a comment, and if you like this kind of content, I appreciate it. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. Do not underestimate. This is one thing I saw. Because of this one thing, so many people, they're not achieving what they want because they believe I can't. So my friend, always believe in yourself, because you can and you will.